Welcome to your favorite Tennessee Titans podcast, Tennessee Titans Weekly. Jacques. Jacques. What's up, folks? Good evening or good morning, wherever you are. We want to say welcome to our pregame chop up. Not the live chop up, but the chop up. We got the Colts, man. We're going into Indianapolis, Jacques. Playing in Indianapolis Colts, man. The Titans and Colts. Hey, man. Should be an interesting game, bro.
Going into the den to play the rival the first of many, right? And they call this rivalry week, so it's gonna be, we played it. These are games that are pretty tough, man. When we play them, right? That's rivalry or any divisional game is just tough as hell. So
that's right. That is
most
correct.
Definitely, dog.
Yeah,
excited
man.
about
it. Me too, man. Me too, man. So, and as you all know, again, this is our first AFC South game, so we got to make this count for sure. It's on, man, and Jacques. So looking at last week, man, as you know, the Tennessee Titans were the humongous not gonna say an upset, but I guess so, maybe, because they had the Bengals to be favored in this game. So we won 27-3. PFF and ESPN had us rated as an A+ for this game as far as how we beat the Bengals. We beat the brakes off them jokers. And now we got the Colts, who lost their game 29-23 against the Rams. They played in overtime on October 1st. So they did lose. So they're 2-2, just like we are. So, Jacques, looking at the AFC South, bro. All teams in the AFC South are 2-2. Okay, the Colts overall will be the number one team in the division just based on points. But right now, there's all teams are 2-2. That is kind of crazy. So to me, it's kind of like, okay, we're competing in this division. So, Jacques, Colts, man, it is a way. So give us two reasons as to why you feel we could beat the Indianapolis Colts.
All right, so I'm gonna split it up like this. I'm gonna do offense and defense. So let's go to the offense first, right?
Yes, sir.
So I've been looking at some film on the Colts, and defensively they're okay, right? They've played some okay teams, right? And it's something I noticed with the Rams game, because I went back and watched the Rams game, even though the Rams should have never let them come back. You was able to run the ball on the Colts, okay? And I forgot who was running the ball. It wasn't Atwell, was it? For the
it was Kyron Williams.
Kyron Williams.
Killing them.
103 yards, 2 touchdowns, 25 carries. Come on now, right?
Yeah.
We got Derrick Henry just went off. Tajay Spears now is part of the run conglomerate, right?
Yep.
So on offense, do what you did, the carbon copy of what you did when you beat the Bengals. Establish the run early, right? Which is going to open up the play action. It's something I noticed that the Rams were able to do. They were able to run the ball. Stafford was able to throw the ball how he was, especially off the play action and everything like that. So that's from an offensive perspective. Another thing is, please block, right? Their defensive line is not strong. So we should be okay, right? We should, but in theory, all right? That's on offense. On defense, AR, right? Anthony Richardson. And to be honest with you, I didn't think he was going to be this half decent, right? But he's looking okay. The biggest threat with him is running the ball, play action with him, right? But not play action, the option play. He's big and he's physical and he's slick kind of fast, right? And we tend to struggle with these particular style of quarterbacks. And I know, Hawk, you've mentioned that plenty of times, right?
Yep.
We tend to struggle with those quarterbacks. So the thing is containing him and keeping him in that pocket to where you make him make mistakes. So the sideline game, right? Most of his runs that I've seen came from the option, and he's running out on the edge, whatnot. So if you can contain that, you're cool. He also can extend the play. So that's another thing that you have to watch out for. So as a defense, you have to stay disciplined in the secondary to kind of just stay in your lanes, because the Colts don't have a burner, right? They don't have a burner at receiver. They don't. I mean, Michael Pittman might be their leading receiver, right? So I think I have enough confidence in our secondary to say, hey, okay, just contain these guys. Y'all just contain Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. What's telling me that y'all can't do the same thing when it comes to Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, and I don't even know who the other receiver is, unfortunately, right? You got Mo Alec Cox as a tight end, but the other receiver, I don't know, right? So just containment, right? And also as a defense, pass rush, get to the quarterback. When you get hands on him, make sure you get him down. That's the problem. He's big, but he's elusive. So you have to make sure once your initial hit, somebody hold them so you can come clean them up, right? And clean them up legally because we don't want no penalties. So that's my 2 ways. What about you, Hawk?
Facts, no paper, Jacques, on everything you stated, bro. Hey, man, hey, those that are listening, they appreciate the smoke, bro. They appreciate that, man. Absolutely. They do, bro. They do. So I'm gonna throw some more ether to the smoke. So when I think of 2 reasons as to how we can beat the Colts, I've watched film on them as well. And I really paid attention to the Rams game in particular. Now, when I look at the game itself, and I've looked at all the games they played, the 4 games they played this season, the Colts defense overall is one of the worst defenses in the league right now. When you talk about yards, okay, they're 29th in the league in defense. Okay, 29th. Okay, now it is early in the season. At one point in time, Tennessee was down there. Now Tennessee has moved to like number 12. So things can change, right? But against the Rams, they had Pakua out there, the rookie, who's been balling now. Don't get me wrong, clowning. Couldn't do anything. In the first half, I'm like, the Rams should have blew him out because it was 21-0 like in the second quarter. I was like, we're about to see a blowout. And the Rams just sort of just gave up, in the second half. But when you look at the stats again, Pakua had 163 yards and 9 catches. You look at Cameron Williams, who looked like Bo Jackson out there. He had 2 touchdowns. He had a really good first half. 25 carries, 103 yards. And, hey, Matthew Stafford, he did have that 1 pick, didn't throw a lot of touchdowns, so he was throwing the ball very confidently. So I think, man, you can run on the Colts. When I look at their defensive line, the Colts, as always, they are a lean, fast defense, right? You got Kwity Paye, you got Shaquille Leonard. Those guys are speed guys. They're not rush defensive heavy, okay? There are times they've had some success with Derrick Henry, but of late, Derrick Henry's had a lot of success. And to your point, if we can mix it up like we did against Cincinnati, to where the Colts are like, bro, I have no idea what's going on. Keep them on their toes, man, because they have a lot of speed on defense, but they can't stop the run. That's a problem. And we are a running football team. And then just when they are going to try to, stack the box, then boom, let's throw it deep. You know what I'm saying? Now, in the second half, the Colts did play better, especially on pass defense. Kenny Moore had an interception. Blackman played pretty well. So they did well in the second half. But I still think the Colts are a bit thin in the you-know-what, and I think we should expose that. Now, I'm not sure who's going to be the starting 5 offensive linemen for us, but you put your 5 best out there and see what happens, okay? Secondly, I look at the Colts' offensive line. Their offensive line has not been playing well either. Anthony Richardson's had to run for his life. And like to your point, he makes a quick decision to run. Don't get me wrong. But, when you look at, Quentin Nelson's still a beast. But overall, Ryan Kelly's been kind of hurt. Raymond, their left tackle, that's the guy's been struggling the most. Your left tackle. Hey, there's opportunities for our defense to do this. Our defense could really go off. And so I expect our defense to do Anthony Richardson like this, man. That's what I expect our defense to do. Go in there and cause havoc. You know what I'm saying? Go in there and hit him. Now, Anthony Richardson's going to run. He's not going to sit there. He's going to get out there and run. But I do think there's opportunities for us to get after the quarterback. And when I look at the Colts offense, they don't have Jonathan Taylor right now. He might play, they say. Jonathan Taylor might play. So I'm not sure what you might get out of him. But, when you look at Zach Moss, he's their running back. I'm not worried about Zach Moss. Not worried about him at all. So if you don't have a running back that proves a threat to us, I'm not worried about you. Our defense is going to be all right. So we stop Joe Mixon, we can definitely stop the Colts, man. So,
most definitely. Most definitely. Great points, man. Like you said, you added to the gumbo, my brother. So I appreciate it. So
yes, sir.
Just going to come straight into it. Give us 2 reasons how we can lose this game.
I'm gonna show a picture of a guy that could cause us problems. This guy right here, man, Anthony Richardson. Okay. Now, as I've always mentioned, since the show started, there's one issue the Titans always have: versatile running backs that can catch the ball with a lot of speed and fast running quarterbacks. More outside runners, and Anthony Richardson is that dude. Anthony Richardson can run the ball, and I think that could pose a threat. His passing is not bad. He passes it okay. He has a gun for sure. You know what I mean? But in this game, I'm not really worried about him throwing the ball. I'm worried about him running the ball. He had 2 touchdowns last week. But overall his quarterback percentage 11 for 25. So he was under 50% in completion percentage. But running the ball, he had 56 yards rushing and a touchdown last week. So he's going to run, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to run. Zach Moss is going to try to run too. So I'm not worried about Zach Moss. I'm not worried about Jonathan Taylor. I'm worried about number 5, Anthony Richardson, running the ball. I think that's how we could lose this game if we're not careful. And I think secondly, as I mentioned, they are a speed defense. So our offensive line, last week played against a speed, but I think a weak defense. I think Cincinnati's fast and weak. Like, they don't hit the weight room. The Colts got a little bit more strength on there when you think about Kwity Paye, DeForest Buckner, Leonard, and those guys. Those guys are a bit more dogs than the Bengals, if you ask me. So we got to watch out for Kwity Paye. Kwity Paye's been balling. Kwity Paye, I think, has 4 or 5 sacks this season. Kwity Paye's going to be ready. DeForest Buckner's going to be ready. So can our offensive line be consistent like they did against the Bengals, playing a whole lot better than what they did against the Browns? We have the offensive line for the Browns. We're in trouble. If not, we'll be all right. So let's make Jim Irsay pissed off, man. Let's have him look like this at the end of the game because he hates the Titans, hates them. So let's keep that hate going on for this guy, man, for sure, man. So that's my piece, man. What about you, John? How can we flip the table and lose against the Colts, man?
Facts, no paper. And I'm gonna do the same thing, offense and defense. Offense, you've said it, man. Number 5, dude. We tend to, especially when it comes to our divisional opponents, we tend to make them look even better, right? Yes. And Anthony AR has not really been, he hasn't really looked like a rookie, if that makes sense, right?
Yep.
And if we don't make him look like a rookie, how they were able to come back was interesting. They did it really a lot off of his legs, if that makes sense, right? And so you got to equate for him running the ball. Like you said, if JT comes back, then you got to equate for him running the ball. So defense really has to stay disciplined. If we don't, then you run the threat of him just running amok, and you don't want him to do that, right? Now I'm going to go to the defensive side of the ball. You talked about the D-line. I'm talking about the secondary. The Colts secondary is one of the best I've seen at just playing zone defense, right?
Facts.
And Tannehill sometimes tends to struggle when it comes to zone defense. I do not know why, but he tends to just, it's there, but I don't know what his process and thinking is in certain instances. Specifically, somebody on defense is Kenny Moore, right? Kenny Moore II. We really have to watch him because he's giving the Titans fits every time we play him, right? Tends to do something. I don't know what it is about Kenny Moore, but it's just something that him and our receivers, and he ends up locking them up, right? So if our receivers get locked up and the run game can't get going, and we got a Houston, we got a problem, right? So those are my 2 ways we can kind of lose this game. If we don't stay disciplined and we start committing turnovers, specifically on Kenny Moore's side, it's a wrap. And with AR, if we don't contain him, it's a wrap on that as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Man, totally agree, because those things can happen if we're not careful, for sure. So speaking of the Colts, if you could find one player that's on the Colts that we need to watch out for those that might not know a lot about the Colts, who should we look out for? Who could have a big game?
I'm gonna stick with number 5, man. I'm gonna stick with number 5. And I know I'm talking about him a lot, but this is our first time seeing him, right? We don't have a lot of tape on him. And he's a rookie, so that's the problem. Like, what do we know? What have we seen? But if you haven't watched Colts games, we don't know what we got, right? It's easy to say, yeah, he's a big target. He's a statue. He's going to throw interceptions. But we really, really got to watch him. In theory, the Titans should win this game, right? In theory. But we know we've seen some funky things happen in the past 4 weeks. So, for me, just watch out for AR, man. I think AR have a decent game. What about you?
Dude, I totally agree, man. I'm going to go on the other side of the ball, and I'm going with who you talked about earlier, Kenny Moore, the corner, 23, veteran. He's been with the Colts for years. He knows about the Titans. He knows about Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill, even on play action, at times he throws a deep ball better in play action than he does intermediate passes, right? And so I don't know if Treylon Burks is going to play. That I'm not sure. And so, I think that could make a difference. And it's not that Kenny Moore's a superb one-on-one corner. He's a hellified zone corner. Okay, he plays it extremely well. He stays in his position. He makes tackles. He gets in there. He had an interception last week against the Rams. Yep. So, we have to watch 23. Some people, I'm sure Colt fans think, that Kenny Moore is one of the best corners in the league. People just don't know much about him. I'm not gonna say he's one of the best, but he's damn good. You know, especially when you talk about zone, he's probably top 5. So we have to watch Kenny Moore. You know, on the defensive side. You know, shout out to us last week not having. I don't think we had any turnovers against the Bengals. Nope. So hopefully that trend will keep going. If you're gonna throw the ball, throw it deep. You know, so you can attack the Colts. The Colts are giving up a lot of yards, man. Yes, they're out there giving up yards. You can throw on them. Just be careful. That's just be careful. Yep,
I agree. I agree. So, Hulk, from a Titans perspective, who should have a big game?
So, when I look at this game, I want to say the King because the King does his thing against the Colts. But I think the Colts know about the King. Okay, they're gonna be ready for the King, whether he gets 100 yards, 80, 90, whatever. This guy here can have a big game for the Titans, man. That's Tyjae Spears, man. Okay, they're not just like you said about Anthony Richardson. They don't know about 32. They don't know about him. Okay. They got some film on them, but they don't know about them. And so when I look at the Colts, you know, when you look at their defense, again, they give up a lot of yards. Again, you see Kyron Williams, he's really good running back. 25 carries, 103 yards. You know, expect Tyjae Spears, who's got a hell of a yard per carry average. You know, look for him to do something out there. Derrick Henry can too. At the end of the day, our run game should be on point against the Colts. They are going to figure, they're going to try to know about the King. The King going to do his thing. That's the King. Watch Tyjae Spears this game. Watch him do something in the passing game. So that's for me, man. What about for you, sir?
You know what? I'm going to stick with the passing game. And I'm going to say, this is going to shock everybody, but I think Tannehill will have a decent game.
Tell him about it, Jacques.
With the run game going off like it's been going off, and if it continues to go off, I believe Tannehill can manipulate that play action and get his receivers involved early, right? Like you made it rated, Tyjae Spears, Derrick Henry, we got D-Hop out there. So for me, I think if Tannehill can stay disciplined and if he can continue to just no turnovers, right? Because when he commits one turnover, he's going to commit 5, right? But if he can stay disciplined and just hand the ball off when you need to, be smart about it, and then when you see the play action, take advantage of it like you did when we played the Bengals. So for me, I expect Tannehill to have a decent game against the Colts.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, good stuff, Jacques. Well, you know, in the preseason show that we both had us winning this game. Even our weekly family as well too. So hopefully that'll stay the case for sure. You know what I mean? Hopefully that'll take place. So yeah, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to say thank you all for listening in to the show. As always, man. Hey, we appreciate it. You know, we want to tell you all as well as far as the post game. So you can check us out on the post game on the Bleacher Report. So there's the Bleacher Report there. You can go on there on your app, on your phone. If you have not downloaded it, download Bleacher Report. Check them out on YouTube. Anything the Titans do, man, if anyone sneezes or take their sock off, the Bleacher Report is going to report it. I guarantee you. So we're going to do the post game there on Bleacher Report. We're going to go over it about 20 to 30 minutes right after the game. So check us out. We're going to give you an in-live discussion on everything, very similar to what we do on the live chop up. As well as, again, if you want to follow us on Instagram, follow us at Tennessee Titans Weekly. You can follow us on Twitter at Titans Weekly 24/7. And you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and we are on
TikTok.
We're out.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. And even if you want to look at us on Apple and Spotify, man, we're on Apple. You see that right there, man. So if you don't have time to look at our ugly faces, hey, you can always. Our wives don't think that, but if you don't want to see our faces, man, you can also listen to us on audio on Apple, Spotify, check us out. We're out there, man, for sure.
Yep, most definitely. And like you said, when you do check out all those platforms, please leave a like, a comment, download the audio, all that, man. Leave a comment on our TikTok, which we need to post a little bit more on there and do a little bit better job, but it's TikTok, right? And then, like you said, if you don't have the Bleacher Report app downloaded, go to your app store now, download the app, and follow me and Hulk on Bleacher Report. You can definitely find us on there. And then once the game ends, that's when we go live. So come through, man. Put some of that weekly spirit in the chat, man, because it's a lot of people that we don't know in the chat. So it'll be good to see a familiar face. And man, let's just get to this Sunday and try to get this win, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, well, folks, hey, we hope you all have a great rest of your week, even as the weekend comes through. And on Sunday, man, Jacques, man, let's tighten up. Let's beat these Colts, man. Let's go 1-0 in the division, man. Let's tighten up. Let's get this victory, man. You know what I mean? So cool. Well, as we always say, and as we always do, facts,
no paper.